We're talking about the La Vie Est Belle by Lancôme Eau de Parfum. And from Fragrantica, it says the main accords is sweet, vanilla, fruity, powdery patchouli. When I first read about this and looked at a lot of videos, a lot of reviews, I was very scared about the powdery part because I do not like anything powdery. I just don't like it. To me, it always, any kind of fragrance that I've ever tried that it says it's powdery, it always makes me think it's a little dated and it's kind of old lady-ish. So from me testing it out, you know, a few hours, a few days to see how it actually wears, how the composition is, the evolution of it. So this is from my notes. Initial whiff, not interesting at all. Completely, utterly, It suddenly, very quickly evolves to something to a light sweetness. It has a crisp floral sweetness. The sweetness is not as thick or overbearing like how other people say it is. A lot of people, from what I have watched and read and done my research about this, which is why every time I did sniff this, and I don't recommend to do it, I always sniffed it at Ulta and I'm always like, ugh, this is disgusting. But I have noticed very recently that the fragrances in Ulta is exposed to extreme heat due to lighting. They have the crazy fluorescent lighting right in front of it, or right on top of it. And also their walls are usually just see-through glass. That doesn't really help when fragrances are usually supposed to be kept in a cool location and dark location, or just not in direct sunlight or direct lighting. If there is lighting, it has to be kind of far off. That's how all my fragrances have lasted a really long time, have been passed down to me, have been given to me. They've been, I don't know, almost 20 years old, 15, 10, you know. Obviously, I don't have those fragrances anymore because, I mean, if you're gonna watch my collection fragrance, I mean, my fragrance collection video, then you're gonna know why I don't have those. But anyway, let's continue on to my experiment and my reaction to this fragrance. I can understand why people love this perfume. It is very beautiful. Now, just to go back to the Ulta experience, that's where I always sniff this, because every time I went to somewhere else, I just never got interested. It was just, I guess that was my fault. I should have had an open mind and went to a different store and just sniffed it there, but I didn't. I felt like this is at Ulta, and if you can hear that weird buzzing sound, that's my husband on our lawnmower, like the riding lawnmower, and he is mowing the lawn. So that's the buzzing sound. It's not like a bee in here. So anyway, I think, to me, this is somewhat in a similar category as the Miss Dior that was released in 2012, not the one for 2017 release, the reformulation, as well as Coco Mademoiselle. Coco Mademoiselle Eau de Parfum, as well as Miss Dior release of 2012 Eau de Parfum. I can see myself getting this. Now that I think of it, this can be thick and overly intoxicating if you use too much. So you just have to be really careful because it's extremely potent. However, you don't really need to spray like 10 spritzes. I can definitely see this as more of a daily or a signature fragrance, because I feel like, and I think, and I whiff that it can be a daily fragrance, it can be a signature fragrance, it can be during the day, during the night, depending on your mood. To me, you can wear it anytime, any day, any time of the year as well. So as I was saying, you can definitely use this fragrance anytime, anywhere, any occasion, any time of the year, any season, a date night. This would be really good. This can be a really good daytime fragrance as well as an evening or anywhere you want. It's a very versatile type of fragrance, and I actually I like it like that. Most of my fragrances, if not all of them, are like that to me. Most of them, not all of them. So, let me see, where was in my notes? To me, there is no age range for this when I do smell it. To me, I know there's a lot of people that prefer a more mature fragrance, a more younger type of fragrance, but this is just for anyone that's researching the fragrance. To me, it can fit in any age range. It is not particularly focused on a specific age range, a teenager, in someone in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It doesn't matter. I think this would be incredibly beautiful and could fit anybody in any range. To me, actually, I don't really go with something like that. I don't really pick a fragrance due to what an age range it's supposed to be marketed on. It has to suit my preference. But that's just to answer questions for other people out there that is interested in that type of fragrance. As more time passes and the more it evolves, it becomes a little bit powdery. However, it's not like an old lady-ish. And it's just very rare for me to say that when it comes to a powdery perfume or fragrance, because as I've stated earlier, I don't really like powdery fragrances. However, I do like this one. And usually powdery fragrances gives me some sort of a headache or a migraine or some kind of negative reaction. This does not do any of that at all. It's very subtle in a way. However, also it's subtle yet it's very obvious it's there, if that makes any sense. It blends well with the sweetness. This is just very beautifully made. The sweetness is never childlike. It's not cheap, trashy, or like a strippery kind of sweetness. It's not that kind of sweetness at all. It's a very sophisticated kind of sweetness, yet youthful in a way. It's just, the reason I said it's kind of a trashy stripper kind of, because I used to know this guy, and he actually showed me, he bought a bunch of women's perfume, or catered for women. They were very cheap fragrances. I don't even recognize them at all. They were just very cheap looking, cheap smelling. It was like sickly sweet. And then I remember he said, do you want to try some of my perfume? And I said, guys have cologne. It's very rare that a guy has a perfume, because perfumes are usually for women. He said, no, I bought some perfumes for women. And so I remember he had, I think, 6 different bottles. And I smelled it. It literally smelled like sugar, just plain sugar with no sophistication. It was very cheap to me. And I just go, oh, it's not bad. You know, I wasn't trying to be mean or ruin his collection of women's fragrances, and all of them really had kind of like a similar smell to them, and they were all very sickly sweet. And so I asked him, I go, why do you have these fragrances? He said, oh, my favorite strippers have, they told me what kind of fragrance they have, and so I bought it. And if I don't want to go to the strip club and I just want to remember what they smell like, I just spray this somewhere, or just, you know, spray it in the air, and I feel like they're on me. I don't know this person anymore. I knew that person a very short period of time, and I didn't know this person. Me personally, it wasn't like I bumped into him or something. It was more of, it was someone's friend, and for whatever reason, he just kind of likes that kind of lifestyle. What I do know with that person, I don't know why I'm giving like the family background of him, his family really kind of looks at him like he's the embarrassing relative. That's really what it is. The rest of his family is completely normal and wholesome and doesn't have like a seedy lifestyle. But anyway, so that's, it's not that type of fragrance, just to kind of go back to what we're talking about. Not that I'm saying that if you do like cheapy smelling, sweet smelling, kind of synonymous to stripper smelling kind of fragrance, that it's a bad thing. It's not. To each of his own. However, I'm just saying that the Vie Est Belle by Lancôme does not smell like that at all. So if you are more into the cheapy smelling kind of fragrances, more super sickly sweet, then this might not be for you. It is sweet, but it's a more sophisticated, more elegant kind of sweet. It's not the trashy kind of cheapy kind of sweetness. Again, that's not a bad thing, because sometimes, you know, sometimes, not me, but sometimes a lot of people would prefer that, and obviously they don't have that kind of employment. However, they want to smell like that, but that's your personal preference, as what I've said. As fragrance and your choices are all subjective, and if that makes you feel good, why not, right? So I would be surprised if this was, anyway, I'm sorry. I don't know why I was saying that. So I completely fell in love with this fragrance. I actually just spritz it on to kind of just kind of have a refresher before I did this, and it is incredibly such a beautiful smell. And I just noticed, I went to lancome.com today, excuse me, the American website, because I'm in the US and it automatically kicks into whatever country you're in, and I noticed that they also sell this in a 6.8 fluid ounces, which was $200 and something. I think it was $205. I'm gonna check right now just so you guys have information on that real quick. So I was kind of looking because there was like an email or a post or something that they were having some kind of sale. So I kind of checked on how, it's $205. That's 6.8 ounces. I don't know if I would get something that big, because for now, I think I should be happy with the 3.4, but this is definitely on my list in wanting to get it, as well as the La Vie Est Belle de l'Éclat. That would be the flanker of this. I love that too. You can really tell that they are in the same fragrance category. However, they are very different. I love them both. I love them both, and they are both just different fragrances. I think there's a different flanker that, the Galant, La Petit Noir, but I got it in the Couture flanker. The original, to me, I didn't like at all. It was very, very similar to each other. However, I just preferred the Couture better than the original one. This one, I love them both, which I really was on the fence on, because I was thinking I love the flanker so much, and I remember just spraying it on a tissue at the counter at Macy's, because no one entertained me. I think if someone did at that moment, I probably would have gotten a bottle. But anyway, moving on. So I just sprayed it. I spritzed it on a tissue that they had, and that was almost a week ago, and I can still smell it on the tissue. I would say that the La Vie Est Belle, I don't know the longevity of it. I know it's a couple of days. Typical, really good performing, really one of those luxury designer fragrance houses. They always do some stuff like that. So do I recommend this? Very much so. I love it so much, and I can actually see this also as an I know I've already said it before, but it's just not every fragrance caters to all season, and not every fragrance can actually pull that off. And this actually can. It can actually be really wonderful in the colder months, and really wonderful on the summer and spring months as well. So it just depends on your personality. Again, if you guys don't know, if you have any suggestions for me to try, or maybe for me to purchase, leave it down below. What would be synonymous to my current collection already, or what my taste would be like. I would really love to have any kind of suggestions, because I keep on going to fragrance counters and keep smelling all these fragrances to a point in which I can't even smell them anymore because I smell too many fragrances. So if anyone out there can throw me a bone and say, what about this? What about this? What about this? So I can actually beeline myself to that fragrance, try it out, and see if I want to add it to my personal collection or just give you guys a review on it. So thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you hit the like button, the subscribe button, as well as the bell, so you'll be notified every time I do have a new video uploaded. There should be links over here in regards to a few of my other videos, and I hope you do watch those as well. Thank you. Bye.